Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and in this video, I'm going to be answering all of your questions around property investing, property entrepreneurship. So please do me a favor and comment below in the question box with your property questions. It can be anything at all from property tax, mortgages, securing a deal, lease option agreements, HMOs, rent to rent, anything at all, and I'll do my absolute best using my 12 years of experience to answer your questions. So get commenting below with your questions. Also, don't forget to smash the like button and also subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a video. So let's see what we've got from last week. Lots and lots of great questions coming in. Had a guy called Will Richardson. He says, rent to rent serviced accommodation. What tends to work better, 1 or 2 bed? Great question. So with serviced accommodation, just let me explain the question in case anyone's thinking, R2R SA, what are you talking about? What it means is, if you're going to do rent to rent, i.e. rent a property off of a landlord with a management agreement, and then list that property with consent, with proper contracts and agreements, list that property on Airbnb. I mean, geez, you can rent a studio flat for like, what, £500–600 a month in many parts of England. But then you can rent them out on Airbnb for like £80 a night, which means after a week, the landlord's paid for. And then you've got 3 weeks, of course you're gonna have some costs, where you can just rent the property out every day. So the question is, are you better off going for 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms? And the answer is, it really depends on the area of what your demographic is. So if it's a 1 bedroom, you're just gonna rent the entire thing out to 1 person. If it's a 2 bedroom, you need to think, am I going to rent this out room by room as serviced accommodation, or am I just going to rent out the whole thing? If you're going to rent out the whole thing, or room by room, what that depends on is, that depends on the demand in the area. So if people are desperately looking to just crash and they'd be happy in that area to stay in a room, in an apartment, then maybe rent it out by the room. I probably wouldn't with just a 2-bed apartment. Also, what's the difference in price to the landlord? If for a 1 bed it's 500, but for a 2 bed it's 800, it's quite a big difference in price. So there's many different factors, but with serviced accommodation as well, you're gonna look at the floor plans, you're gonna think, how can I best configure this to get the maximum amount of profit? Systemized as heck, and according to the demand in the area, the supply, etc. One of the things that we do is we rent out. We'll even if we've got a large property like a 3-bed house, we might not rent it out room by room. We might say we're going to rent out the whole thing, but we're going to make it make it so that we can change the rooms around. So, for example, zip beds. So if you've got a 2 bed, you could have one of the bedrooms could have a double. And the other bedroom could have a double, but with a zip in the middle so you can turn it into a twin room, so that you'll be able to cater to as many people as possible and really maximize the price. So I'd recommend getting good at this, because right now staycations are really a thing, and a lot of people making a lot of money from rent to serviced accommodation in the UK and across the globe. Okay, Razvan Gabriel, what percentage of your money do you usually pull out from a BRRR deal, and how long does it take? All of it! I want to pull out all of it. That's the formula. If I'm buying a house for 75 grand and I'm spending 25 grand on it, that means I'm putting in total 100 grand. I'm probably not going to pay stamp duty, because probably the house was completely inhabitable when I bought it, which means you don't pay stamp duty tax. So if I'm putting down 100 grand, I'm going to work backwards and I'm going to make sure that I can then refinance it high enough, I don't know what the exact number is, probably like 130, and then to be able to then pull out all of my money. Now, sometimes you end up leaving a little bit in, but you should definitely be aiming to pull out everything. Recycle your money. Most people are like, I've got a pot of money, where should I invest it? Or even worse, where should I spend it? No, you should be recycling it, putting it in somewhere and then pulling it out, leaving you with an asset with no money left in. And then what you're going to do, you're going to do it again and again, and you're going to make your money work really hard for you. That's how the BRRR, buy, refurbish, refinance strategy should be done. Okay, exotic gaming. Hi Samuel, I've got £17,000 savings, but I was thinking of getting shared ownership, so I've got my own place to live, but I want to become financially free. What would you recommend? I would recommend not doing the shared ownership thing, because you want to be financially free. Shared ownership has got so many flaws. If you buy a property on shared ownership, it's very difficult to get out of it, because normally if you buy a house and then you want to sell it, you just sell it. If you buy into a shared ownership scheme and then you want to get out of it, what are you going to do? You're going to have to find somebody else that wants to get into the sucky scheme. You're going to have to find another dum-dum. And then you're going to have to pay rent and mortgage. And you're probably going to end up having to pay over the odds as well. Like the ratio is disproportioned. I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. So do your research, okay? Don't listen to me. Go in with your eyes wide open. Do your research. Okay, Manav Pancholi. Do you think there's demand for rent-to-rents in the East Midlands? Absolutely. I got a whole bunch of students killing it in East Midlands. Derby, Nottingham, both with rent to HMOs and rent to serviced apartments. Nottingham is ripe for both of those strategies. Bang on in the East Midlands. So 100% I do. Matt Rooney. Struggling to get a buy-to-let mortgage at the minute. £120,000 purchase with a 30 grand gifted deposit. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. 35 grand a year tax after income, no outgoings other than residential mortgage, which started in December, clean and clear credit file. You should be okay. I mean, December, you got a residential mortgage in December. Sometimes it will help you if you've owned a property for 6 months. So December, January, February, March, April, May. You might find next month it suddenly becomes a lot easier. But if you're having issues, you just need to speak to a mortgage advisor. And if you're having issues with your current mortgage advisor, find another mortgage advisor, because you should be fine from what you've said. But it depends. I don't know anything about you. You're just Matt Rooney from YouTube. I love you though, bro. Okay, SM. Thank you for your continued support in property. I remember you asked a question last week about the difference between leasehold and freehold. And I said, be careful of leasehold. And now you've said, my question is, would you purchase a leasehold property? You asked me that last week. Oh, there's more though. As a buy-to-let with a remaining lease of 125 years. Oh, would I? Maybe. Assuming the numbers stack. Also, what happens when the term of the lease comes to an end? Would the value of the property not decrease as the remaining term of the lease is reduced over the years? Yeah. So if you buy, okay, if there's 125 years on the leasehold and the numbers stack, would I buy it? Maybe, yeah. If the numbers stack, I would. Because 125 years is a long time. Like, we probably won't be around unless they invent a magic pill, which I don't think they will. So what will happen at the end of when the lease runs out is your children, who you've inherited the property to, will have to either sell the property for really cheap or extend the lease. To be honest, I've never had that happen to me, but I know what will happen. You're gonna have to extend the lease. But you could, if you buy a property with a lease on it for 125 years, in 50 years, if you've got a lease that's 75, or in 75 years when you've only got 50 years left, you can pay to renew the lease, but it just costs money. So it's just about, again, it's about going in with your eyes wide open, so you know exactly what's what. And a good solicitor should be able to tell you exactly what, exactly what's what when you're buying a leasehold property. In plain English. Here's a tip. When you're buying a property, make sure that you've got a good solicitor. And what I mean by a good solicitor is usually someone that invests in property themselves and someone that can speak plain English so that you understand what they're talking about. That's a good sign of a good solicitor. All right. Saith's channel. Samuel, I'm finding it too hard to find 30% below market value deals for BRRR. You don't need 30% below market value. What you need for a BRRR is you need to be able to push up the value. I mean, you can pay 100% of the market value. When you're buying a BRRR potential deal, you need 3 figures. You need to know the purchase price. It doesn't need to be below market value. The refurb cost and the end value. The end value needs to be a lot bigger than these 2 figures. Namely, if you take the end value and times it by 0.75, that number needs to be equal to or greater than the total investment. Namely, the purchase price and the refurb cost. Maybe you need to rewind and watch that back, but that's the formula. Nowhere in the formula does it say that you need to buy below market value. You need to push the value up. All right, last question. Ted says, I applied for the right to buy my one-bedroomed flat from social housing. I've lived in it for 12 years. The discount on that bad boy is going to be big. So, Ted, I'm glad to hear that, but there's more. And I applied for the right to buy some years back. Good. I never completed the application. You need to, bro. Listen, even the dude sitting behind the camera, David, you there, bro?
I'm here.
When he came on as my videographer, what happened, David?
I wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah, he had a property. He had the same thing. And literally, I made you, right?
You did.
I was like, you have the right to buy it? He was like, I do, yeah, but got a few things going on in my mind and, you know. I was like, no. I don't care what's going on in your mind. And literally, I made him, and now you've got that going through almost?
About to complete.
About to complete, boom. What's the discount on that?
112,000.
£112,000 discount. That's like 40% below market value or something, almost 50%. So if you lived there 12 years, Ted, I'm talking to you now, Ted. Ted, I hope you can hear this. I hope you didn't just comment and then disappear off. You better. The guys, please subscribe, because I don't want you to comment, ask a question, and then don't hear the answer. So Ted, you never completed the application. But now I have a family of 4 and have been informed that if I buy it, I'll have to live in it for 5 years, which is already difficult. Also, it's on the 10th floor with no outside space. I need a home for my family. Please let me know where I should start with no savings. I don't think you're correct, Ted. I think you've been misinformed, Ted. Look, you don't, my understanding, okay, again, I've never actually done this, but I've looked into it heavily for many of my students. My understanding is you don't have to live in it for 5 years, bro. You just can't sell it within 5 years. And well, you can sell it, but you're not gonna, look, let me explain. If you're doing right to buy, if you've lived in a property for a long time and it's a council-owned property, if you've lived in it for a long time, the council will give you a discount to buy it. It's called right to buy. Great. If you've lived in it for a long time, like Ted, or like my videographer, long time, the discount can be huge. Like the apartment can be worth 300 grand, and they'll say you can have it for 160. Now, you've got to get the money. You can't walk away from a 50% below market value deal that only you on the planet have the right to buy. You just cannot walk away from it. If you don't have the money, find the money. If you can't find the money, I don't know, call me. Okay, maybe we can do something. But if you have the right to buy, here's what you can't do. You can't say to the council, hey, all right, I'll buy it for 160. Buy it for 160, and then the next day, stick it on Rightmove for 300. Sell it for 300 and make a quick 150 grand, boom, shaka. You can't do that. And if you do that, you're gonna lose the discount. You're gonna make 300 grand out, but you're gonna then owe the council money. Now there's a sliding scale over a 5-year period. If you sell it after 3 years, you might make 150 grand profit, but you have to give the council some of that money. But after 5 years, you can sell that bad boy. Take the money, right? So you don't have to live in it, you just can't sell it. Now, my understanding is, in England, unless they've just suddenly changed the rules, I haven't heard, but I don't think they have, you can even rent it out. Is that right? Am I right?
You're right.
Right, cool. So you can buy it for 160 when it's worth 300, argument's sake. Buy it, really cheap. Stick a tenant in it, make an income. Make an income. Then after 5 years, you probably won't be selling it for 300. It would have probably gone up now because properties appreciate. It'll probably be 400. That's how you're going to get rich. So you're telling me you've got no money. If you don't buy that property, I need to come around your house and punch you in the mouth. Like, because there's no point even watching my channel and being a subscriber if you're going to have an opportunity that lucrative that no one else in the world has the opportunity to, but you have the right to buy it, and then just go, oh, but I don't know, I'm not sure. Like, serious. Like, find a way to buy that house. Let me know what happens. My videographer man did it. You're going to do it too. If you're a subscriber on my channel, I badly want you to be successful. I badly want you to become a property tycoon and financially free. I believe that there's enough money on the planet for everybody to live a good life. Money is unlimited. People say, why do you teach, Samuel, if you make so much money in property? Because I don't feel like I'm in any competition with anybody. If anything, we're going to collab. We're going to collab, you know? So, if you want to get rich, first thing you need to do, you want to get rich? Very first thing you're going to do is subscribe to the channel, hit like, drop a question below. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.